Hi guys! So today's video is going to be on some time-saving PowerPoint tips and just some fun things that I do that I think you're going to love. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to show you first what I do with some of my fonts to save me time and just things that are fun for me when I'm creating different resources. So all I'm doing right now is I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, and I'm going to add in a text box here. By default, PowerPoint will give you their default font in here, but let's say I wanted to change that. Let's use this one here. I'm going to make this nice and big so you can see what I'm doing. And let's say now I wanted to add a new text box in. By default, again, PowerPoint's going to put in this font, but let's say I wanted to make a lot of different text boxes and I wanted them all to look the same and save myself some time. If I right click here and write Set as Default Text Box, now whenever I insert a new text box, it's going to be the exact same font that I had there, which is really nice and will save you time if you have a font that you're going to use throughout your PowerPoint to not have to change that each time. And you could also do this as many times as you want. So let's say now you have all of your fonts the way you want them there, but now you decided you want to do something different. So let's choose a new font here. Let's say I chose this KG font and I want this to be my new default. So I right click and I do Set as Default Text Box. And again, now when I insert a new text box, it's going to become this new font that I chose. So just a time saver and a way to help you not have to worry about changing your fonts over and over again. This also works with your shapes. So if I were to create a shape here, it's going to be by default this blue color. But let's say I fill this, I want it white, I want my outline to be black. I'm going to make this weight a little bit bigger. Thicker. Now I want all of my shapes to have this same formatting. So I can right click and I can go to Set as Default Shape. And now when I insert a new shape, it's going to have the same formatting. I could even insert a different shape and it's going to have the exact same formatting, which is really cool. And it saves a lot of time. So I can also, if I select all of these shapes, and let's say I changed my mind and I wanted to make all of these a different shape all at once, if I go to this Edit Shape option, I can change my shape all at once to something different without having to do them individually, which is just really helpful. And I found this really useful on different resources that I've created. The last thing I'm going to show you is just some different font features that I like to use. Let's say again, I'm writing the same word, but I want to make this word stand out and look a little bit more interesting. If I hit Control-C copy and Control-V paste, and now I want to go into this text box, if I go to Format and I do Text Fill and I change the text color, now that I have these two layers, I could actually make it look like this really cool shadow, like a drop shadow effect, which is really nice. I can make my text have an outline. I can change the weight of my outline. So see how that now looks a little bit different and gives it some more dimension. I could make my outline have dashes so I can play around with what this looks like as well. And one of the things that's pretty popular right now, I'm going to insert a new text box here, is creating your text boxes and layering the outline on top. If I go back now to my formatting and I go to my text fill, I'm going to do no fill, but I want it to have a black outline. And I'm going to make this a little bit thicker. Now if I do another text box, and I'm going to write the word again, but let's change the color here. I'm going to go back to Format, Text Fill. Let's make this purple. And I can layer it this way, but something that's really popular right now is layering this outline on top. So I'm going to select this text box, and I'm going to right click and bring to front. Now when I play around with this, it gives it a really cool effect that a lot of people are liking right now. So that's something that you can do. Another really cool thing, and oh my God, there's so many things you can do with text. So you can play around with this on your own. But if you go into your format and you go to text effects, you can give this a shadow. So there's a bunch of different shadow effects that you can have here that you can play around with. You can do a reflection if you wanted to, which is really neat. Glow I'm going to get to in a second. There are glow options here, but I want to show you a little bit more with the glow also. You can give it a bevel. You can do a rotation just to give a different effect. You can transform it. You can see that there's so many really cool things that you can do with your text. I wanted to show you the glow though. So if I right click on this and go to format shape, it just kind of gives me some different text options over here that you can play with too. I'm going to click on this text effects option and I'm going to go to glow. So you can choose whatever glow color you want. There are some presets that are given to you, but if I go in and choose whatever color I want, I can change the size of my glow. So I can make this really big or I can make it really small. The other thing that's really cool about glow is I can change the transparency of it. So I can make this very transparent or I can make it not transparent at all. If I make it transparent, you can see that you can layer it over other things and then the glow you can see through, which is really nice. But again, there's so many different text options that you can play with. One of my favorites right now though is if I were to select this text box here and go back into text options, and if I go to this picture or texture fill, you can see that there are different textures that are available to use. But if I go to file and I choose one of my saved backgrounds, it actually gives this text such a fun look, and I can choose whichever one I want and give it just a really interesting kind of fun fill. And you can use whatever picture you want, so it doesn't just have to be like a background, it can be an actual photograph as well, just to give it a different effect. And you can play around with this and do so many different things. And yeah, so I just wanted to show you some fun things that I do just to help me save time and just to be creative with your different resources. So I hope that you learned something, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.